Hello, folks. If you've been on the internet for quite some time, you have heard of an internet fad, I would call it, a sort of a movement called Passport Bro. And generally, what they are is just Western or men from the West going to other countries, mainly South or Latin America, Asia, probably Africa and Eastern Europe. And to be honest, for most part, they are frustrated, or they say they are frustrated with their dating prospects in the West. Some would go as far as claiming or saying that or stating that women in the West aren't relationship or marriage material and that they are looking for traditional marriage material women in those countries. Now, the idea, like any fad or any philosopher movement, sounds very plausible. I mean, if I don't like the food around my neighborhood, it doesn't really harm or it's not an issue for me to drive 2 miles away and go to a place where there is food I would enjoy. That's pretty much okay. Now, the problem with the passport bros, as I see them portrayed on the internet, is are the followings. And before I go through that, I want to sort of caveat this with sort of a not a definition, but to clarify exactly what passport bros generally mean. Because what I see on the internet when there are discussions, some people conflate passport bros with anybody going overseas for any particular reason. I am going to stick to what I see on the sort of not formal but sort of forums that are more passport bros related, and what we see is men specifically going for women. So that exclude people going for retirement and who explicitly or implicitly might get involved with the women later on. That excludes people going to teach English, for instance, in South America, in Japan, China, Vietnam, Thailand, or what's not. That excludes anybody going for diplomatic missions, obviously, and excludes to some extent digital nomads, because for digital nomads the explicit purpose is work remotely. It's never is about women, not at least what they claim. So I'm gonna go with what people claim. Now, the passport bros, they are very sort of eloquent. It's about women, but also it shows in their feeds, in on their channels. All you see is, oh, yo, look what kind of woman I can get for $30 at McDonald's, you know. And to me, that's what come with what I see wrong with that. The first thing is basing all your entire existence on a lady. It's pretty how can I say, it's a very interesting predicament to be in, because some of those they actually uproot themselves, at least temporarily. They're not working. That means they left their jobs. They cut a ticket to Brazil, Colombia, Thailand without any plan to settle. They didn't research apparently, or they didn't care about, for instance, visa requirements to stay long term in those countries. There are always requirements in terms of age for retirement visas, or money involved, funds for investments and other visas. So they don't seem to care about that. They seem to be very short term oriented. A second is, although they say they want traditional women and wives, when they go there, they just get involved with the sort of degeneracy, I would call it. They go to walking streets, to red light district, and they just dating, even if they don't go those places, they're just dating for the sake of dating. I actually asked the guy a philosophical question. So were you there for a woman, or are you looking for a wife? Which is a short question, but philosophical, because the guy's going through different countries, and I don't think if you're looking for a wife, you go spend 2 weeks in Brazil, 2 weeks in Mexico, 2 weeks in Colombia, 2 weeks in the DR or Dominican Republic, 2 weeks in the Philippines, 3 weeks in Thailand, looking for a wife. That's pretty much a lot of job. I would think you would sort of pick up one country that you think the culture would be a good fit for you, and probably target that one and then narrow down to what you want and just get to wife and then go on with your life. So that's one. The second thing. So the first thing was just hinging all your life around women, and the second was just you think you want traditional. You say you want traditional, but what you are engaged in is far from traditional. And the third one is kind of related. It's sort of how can I say, poisoning the well is the word. Like you go to a country that is kind of pristine, and you go to a small village and you start spreading the generacy that we are against, generally speaking, as a part of the pro movement. I say we, I'm not part of the movement, but that's what they say. And you kind of spoiling for the rest of everyone, because anytime they will see a passport bro, they'll say, oh, this guy just coming to play around, he's never serious, and they won't give you the date of the time of their day. And that's pretty very bad thing. And related to that also is the sort of spreading or reinforcing the stereotype of what the Americans in the neighborhood of black Americans in particular call Pookie, Ray Ray, what's not, who are those sort of low class men going around and doing things in the neighborhoods and never settling and never forming a family. So anytime they probably will see a black guy that's honest in the future, they will say this guy just bringing the Pookie Ray Ray system from the USA hood to Japan or Korea or Thailand, I don't know. So that's reinforcing that sort of stereotypes, if you ask me. So I wouldn't support that. I wouldn't think that's a very good thing. But most importantly, and that's something I'm seeing at the moment, is the guys are not really prepared. As I said, when you want to move overseas, it is a lot of money involved. You have to have, in actual fact, some savings, to be honest, just in case things go wrong. In actual fact, over the last week, I saw 3 people, I won't call them passport bros. Only one is claiming to be a passport bro, the rest are just expats. But there were 3 in the hospital, and their insurance wasn't either not enough or not existent for 2 cases, and they were begging for donations, which is pathetic if you are under 50 or at any age and you travel around without an insurance, with the hope that you won't get injured, or if you do, the community will just raise funds to support you and pay for your medical bills, which generally people do. People are very generous these days and they've got the money. And what I can see is for at least 2 cases, they were able to raise enough funds to pay those hospital bills. But it's quite not a good thing to see, especially if you come from the West, where there is a lot of money to be made, generally speaking, and you just walk away from it and you just go back in the hospital in Thailand or the Philippines or wherever you are. So that's what I'm saying, is just being prepared and knowing the pitfalls, not burning the bridges, particularly because there is a chance, like a high degree of probability that you will be back. And in actual fact, I'll say that 99.9% of the passport bros will be back. The other 0.9 will probably be unalived somewhere in Medellin, or they already have. So just what I'm saying, and keep it low. Really, it's no point bragging about something that's not very important. A passport is something really ridiculous to brag about, to flex about, because I would rather brag about the driver's license, because at least you've done something, you've done some driving lessons and you can do something about driving. But the passport, you just pay 200 or 100 or whatever you pay in your country. You wait for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, for whatever it is, and you get your passport. There's nothing to be done. It's not an achievement at all. And the same as taking a plane to Cebu or Manila or Bogota or Bangkok. It's not necessarily something to flex about these days. I think the majority of people can in the West afford $1,000 to go to a country in the back. But yeah, keep it low and do your thing. But most importantly, just it's not a sustainable movement. I am pretty sure they will be out of action in the next 5 years. That's my bet. Okay, guys, if you think I'm wrong, please leave some angry comment down below. Cheers.